In this video, we're going to be walking through the content approval tracker spreadsheet that we've created. It's pretty straightforward, so let's jump right in. When you open the document, you'll immediately notice that there are two separate tabs, the How to Use tab and the Approval Tracker tab. The How to Use tab just shows the purpose, the fact that we're trying to use this to track content from ideation to publication and have a paper trail to demonstrate compliance process, just in case you go through audit or review. The link to the video Loom walkthrough that you're watching right now, the key benefits of using this tracker, and then contact information if you have any questions for me. So let's jump right into the actual approval tracker itself. Go ahead and move over to that tab. We have 5 examples that I've outlined here. And so let's just start by column. First column you have is content type. This, you're going to identify whether it's a video, image, or text piece of content. Pretty straightforward. Then you have the title headline. This is essentially how you're going to be identifying what piece of content it is. Then you have the status tab. There's a wide variation of options that you have here: ideation and development, revisions, review, approval, scheduled and published, or even rejected. Then you have created date. The way I like to use created date is when this idea was created, when that first piece of content to say, oh, we're going to create this. That's the date that I log here usually. Then you have date of first submission. Now, this is the first day that I actually submit the content to compliance. That way you can start to track how long it takes from start to finish of a content approval cycle. The final approval date, this is essentially when compliance and all other relevant stakeholders give you final approvals that this piece of content is good to go and ready to publish. Then in terms of platforms, you can choose all the different social media platforms. Right now we have 6 different platforms, and this is a multi-option dropdown. So you can click on as many as you'd like. Then you have link to content. I've seen this used one of 2 ways. The first way is linking directly to the file. Say, for example, you keep the raw content files in a Google Drive, you'd link directly to that. The other option that I've seen is people just link directly to the specific platform they posted on. So say, for example, you posted on YouTube, they'll link the exact YouTube video link here. Now, lastly, you have these 2 tabs, revisions log and the insights. These 2 are the most important for this tracker to be effective. And so for the revisions log, this is where I'm going to log every single detail of the dates things happened. So for example, on this first row, we created the content idea on 7/11. Then in the revisions log, I share that on the 15th, we completed creating the content. On the 17th, we submitted to compliance. On the 20th, compliance rejected it outright and said there's no chance for a resolution. So that alone is great because it gives you that timeline. And then in the insights column, you go into more depth on why things happened. So for example, this piece of content of retiring 5 years earlier, that suggested a guaranteed outcome and expected projected return, and compliance didn't like that. And so they said no amount of revision would lead this to be approved content. And so again, this starts to create your log, your database of why things were rejected, what exactly happened, so that if you ever do need to go back, you know exactly when things happened and why they happened. And so as you move forward, you have more and more examples. Right now, I have 5 examples that you can look at, but say, for example, by the end of the year, you have 30 pieces of content in this tracker. You now have a very solid database of how long it takes for a standard piece of content to get approved, whether it be a video piece, a text piece, an image piece. Not only that, because of the insights, you have exact reasoning on why something wasn't approved or why something was approved. And you can start to see what trends and what things you need to be mindful of as you create more content in the future. And so this becomes your database. You can turn this into a checklist, get a bunch of insights for it so that in the future, you and your team can expedite that process and push any new piece of content through this database to make sure it checks all the boxes. A more advanced tip is you can actually feed this database into an AI model or an LLM, and they can actually pull insights for you and then give you an actual checklist to do so. But that about sums up this content approval tracker. Hope you found this helpful. Hope you're able to expedite your content process. And again, we look at compliance not as a barrier, but as a partner, and it can become your advantage if you're able to use it effectively. So hope this was helpful. Again, don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any questions, my contact information's here.